Introduce yourself. Thank you. Please introduce yourself on the chat. Hi, Matt, painter from West Hartford. I think I've seen your shop. Hi, Cecilia. Nice to meet you. Thanks for joining us. Okay, so just a few housekeeping items before we get the meeting started. I'll start by introducing the Hartford Performs team, but if you can, please make sure that your microphone is on mute. We will be sending this recording of this webinar along with any resources that are discussed during the webinar, along with this slide deck. You should expect that from me by the end of the week. If you do have any questions that come up during the course of the presentation that you're itching to get answered, you can either wait till the end of the presentation, or you can also put that in the chat box. Some of my colleagues will be monitoring the chat. They'll be keeping an eye on that. So if anything does come up, we are leaving some time at the end of the presentation to answer all of your questions. And in terms of the camera, it is up to you whether or not you choose to have your camera on, but we would love to see you. So we encourage you to have your cameras on. And yeah, okay, so side. Okay. If you are just joining us, I saw a few people that are just joining us. Please introduce yourself in the chat. Say, the name of your program, where you're joining us from. I'm actually going to start introducing my colleagues here. When I shout out their name, if you just want to say a quick hello or a hi, I will start with our executive director, Ree.
Hi, everybody. It's good to see everybody. Good to see so many new faces.
Thank you. Emily Wineski is our programming director. Emily.
Hey everyone, so great to see you. Thanks for joining us this afternoon.
Yeah. And I'm Catherine Davis. I'm the program manager. I've actually been with Hartford Performs since last October. So Kimberly is our program coordinator. Kimberly.
Hey everybody, you've been in contact with me already, so it's like we know each other.
And Sarah Asmar is our director of advancement. Sarah.
Hi, everybody. It's so good to see you. I don't get that much chance to see all your faces. So it's really nice to see you this afternoon.
And Colleen Estes is not with us today, but she is our finance director. And again, I know I'm going over the slide one more time. I saw a couple of you joining us a little bit late. So if you would like to just introduce yourself in the chat, your name, your program, and where you are joining, where in Connecticut you're joining us from, if you're in Connecticut or local. So before we get kicked off, I'm just going over the agenda, what you can expect today. We just covered welcome and introductions. Then I'll turn it over to Ree, will go a little bit deeper into Hartford Performs and who we are, what we do, the organization, our origin, and a good overview. We'll discuss what you can expect during the school year, the different types of programs that we offer, the payment cycle. I'm sure you have questions on that, as well as the database, how that works, and some time for questions at the end. So, Ree, it's all yours.
Thanks, Catherine. If you could advance to the next slide. So I'm a big context person, so understanding not just who we are, but why we are, I always find helpful to know in a new relationship. So um, something that's important to know is that there have always been teaching artists in Hartford Public Schools from time immemorial. The thing was, there were two kind of issues with that. First of all, not every kid had access to community artists and teaching artists in their classrooms. If a teacher was particularly cool or they had great community connections or was really imaginative, kids might have those teaching artists in their classes. But if not, then kids missed out. So the experiences were just not equal. And the other thing was teaching artists in classrooms weren't always used for the same purpose. So sometimes it was, the teaching artist was very connected to what the curriculum goal was, and had a real purpose. And other times it was just fun. And both of those things are great, but again, it made for a really unequal experience. So next slide, please. So In 2009, not that long, it sounds like a long time ago, but not that long ago, Hartford Public Schools decided to set out to see how were the arts being used in schools, and particularly how are community artists being used in schools. And so they did a big state of the arts task force where they looked across the entire district to see how the community artists were interacting with the schools, what more could be done, and how it could benefit students most. And what they decided was that it would make, and they did this in concert with the arts community. So this was a big community effort. And they looked at other school districts. They looked at what was happening inside Hartford. They looked at different age groups. They did a whole big, broad study. And what they decided was that this work would be done most efficiently and most deliberately by an independent organization who had this as their only job. And that's who we are. So next slide, Catherine. So we are the independent nonprofit organization who is charged with aggregating our community's really rich cultural resources, all of you plus the arts organizations in the area, aggregating all those resources and putting them to work for Hartford Public students in a very deliberate way, in a way that advances student learning, advances student development. And our mission has evolved a little bit over the years, but the thing that's really constant is that our job is not just to do fun artistic stuff in schools. Our job is to enrich the student experience and, most importantly, to improve outcomes across all subject areas, to help kids learn to read, to give kids better experience in PE classes, to make sure they're connected with their community, to have broader life experiences. And that is our job, is to help student learning and to support student learning. So next slide, please. So this is who we serve. Primarily, we are in Hartford Public Schools. We do some work outside of Hartford Public Schools, and we'll be doing a little bit more of that in the future. But our biggest, the vast majority of our time and resources are spent in Hartford. And you can see here who the students are who we serve. So most of the kids come from the city of Hartford, but there's a fairly substantial percentage that come from surrounding towns, 53 different sending towns. And there are 85 different languages spoken in Hartford Public Schools. 90% of the students identify as students of color. 90+% identify as students of color. More than a quarter of them are multilingual learners, and about a fifth of them require special education services. So it is a really broad group of people, a really diverse group of students. Next slide, please. And so Hartford Performs, we have grown through the years. We started serving schools in 2010, in the 2010-11 school year. We now serve 31 schools throughout the Hartford Public School system. That's about 10,000 kids every year. And plus their educators, we also do professional learning for teachers in Hartford. We do, when we count it up at the end of the year, it's about 3,000 program hours a year. And what that means is you and your colleagues are in front of Hartford kids almost 3,000 hours a year. And when you break that down into a 180-day school year, that means more than 16.5 hours of programming that our Hartford Performs teaching artists, that you guys are providing to Hartford students every single year, every day rather, 16.5 hours a day. That is a lot of programming. So we need lots of teaching artists and lots of really good, strong teaching artists. Next slide, please. And then I'll give you just a very brief overview. So how does this work? And one thing we always try to have Hartford Public Schools recognize is they don't pay one-for-one for these services. They pay a small portion for the services. So we are a true nonprofit organization. We get some of our funding, about a third of it, from the Hartford Public Schools. The rest we, and by we I mean Sarah mostly, has to go out and raise the rest of the money, primarily from foundations, but also from corporations, a little bit from government, individuals. We look for the programs we do for other school districts, we charge them. And all of this is in support of providing services to Hartford Public Schools. So that is a really brief overview of who we are and how we came to be. And I am going to turn it over to Emily to talk about kind of who we are now and how you play into that.
Thanks, Ray. Hi, everybody. Great again to see all of your faces. Thanks for joining us. So really the goal of programming, whether it's for students, teachers, teaching artists, families, students are central to the work that we do. And through all of our decision making, and our programming in all of those capacities are really built to build student knowledge and enhance student learning through the arts, through high quality arts experiences. And so we do that through you, right? Our community arts providers and your deep expertise in your art specialty. You connect your real world practice to classroom standards in order to build this cohesive understanding and picture of arts education and learning in general for all students across the district. And I really love this graphic because it shows how we both support and enhance what is already amazingly happening in Hartford Public Schools, both through their certified arts educators who are teaching arts curriculum and certified non-arts educators that are teaching students their more core subject matter, English, math, social studies, and science. And so you can see that there is overlap both within the school over those two types of educators, and then you as community arts providers, both bringing your specialty and your uniqueness, but then there's overlap with the certified arts educators in terms of the art skills that you're bringing in and sharing, and overlap with the certified non-arts educators in that arts integration component and supporting building student knowledge in the classroom. Next slide. So Hartford Performs has adopted and uses through our partnership with the Kennedy Center Partners in Education program, the definition for arts integration. Arts integration is really an approach to teaching where students get to engage in the creative process using both an art form and another content area, and they're able to build and construct and demonstrate their understanding of the art form of the subject area throughout a creative process and meeting evolving objectives in both areas. Next slide, please. And so this definition of arts integration and students really being at the center of all of our decision making is embedded throughout all of our programs. And so we offer student programs, and student programs are broken into core arts integration, middle school residencies, assemblies, and 5-week residencies. We also provide teacher programs in the form of teacher professional learning, both through arts integration and supporting unified arts teachers. We offer teaching artists programming through our quarterly meetings, which you're going to learn more about in this meeting. But there's professional learning opportunities through that. And then our family programs are through a family literacy night program that we have developed and implemented. Slide. So really the focus and the core of our work is through our core arts integration programs. It is the core of what we do, and these programs serve all pre-K to 8th grade students in all of our partnering schools, those numbers that Ree was sharing with you before. Our core arts integration programs must align with at least one art form and one subject area with connections to the standards in both of those areas. And then new this year is all K-5 programming must align specifically with the new Wit and Wisdom literacy curriculum with one module. Which should not sound new to you, as that was part of the application process. Core arts programs are between 1 and 2 visits in length and serve an entire grade level. They're selected by the lead teachers, and Catherine's going to go into more detail about that. But programs that you see within core arts integration range in a wide span of museum visits, offsite performances at the Bushnell or at TheaterWorks. And they also include programs that you have submitted and are offering those in-school workshops and possibly some in-school performances. Next slide, please. Another one of our student programs are middle school residencies. Residencies were designed and built about 4 years ago in order to adapt to the ever growing needs of our middle school students, and really meeting their developmental level and creating more project-based learning experiences where a unified arts teacher and a teaching artist are co-creating a 90-hour residency over the course of a school quarter. The purpose of the middle school residencies are to develop deeper skills in students in a specific art form, and also to build relationships with students and community arts providers. They're all working towards a presentation or performance of the work that they're working on, including murals, which is some of the images that you see on your screen from one of our past residencies. Next slide. And finally, assemblies. Assemblies were also purpose-built on the request of school principals asking for more access to performing arts experiences to happen in school, and as a way for schools to acknowledge and celebrate cultural heritage months and represent the community and cultures that are found within the school and district. And next slide is me passing it now to Catherine to dig a little bit deeper into specifically how our programs and you connect.
Thanks, Emily. Yeah, so I'm going to give you a little overview of the roster and the program selection and how that works. But in order to become part of our roster, you guys, if you remember a couple months back, you submitted applications, you filled out the new program interest form, and those programs were vetted by a panel of teachers and educators. All of the artists on our roster go through the same application process that you went through. They've gotten all of this information from similar webinars as well. Okay, the Hartford Performs program roster, if you've had a chance to look at this already, it looks like this, and it's searchable by anyone. It's a public domain that people can search for arts integration programs. This roster is essentially your marketing tool. So be very mindful about the type of photos that you're selecting or the program descriptions that you're using, because it's the first foray into your program that teachers and the educators will see. Hartford Performs is not a booking agent. So if you're wondering how you get more schools or grade levels interested, it really comes down to that first step of making sure you have an engaging, interactive photo that really draws educators in. The Hartford Public Schools teachers and principals will begin searching the roster starting in September to make their program selections. So ideally, you should know all of your programs by mid-October for the year, ideally. When educators go in to select their programs, they're selecting the programs for the entire grade level through this database. They are able to filter from maybe perhaps they want a hands-on workshop or they want a performance. Maybe they want it to be solely in-school workshops or a combination of in-school and off-site. They can have the opportunity to be able to filter it by grade level, what the curriculum focus is. And of course, if you're a K-5 program, now they can also filter it by what those wit and wisdom connections are. Each grade level gets a $20 budget per grade level. What that means is we budget for the next school year based on student enrollment. Teachers and educators have the opportunity to select among $0 and $5 and $10 programs. So that ideally falls in the range. We have some schools who they might select 2 programs for the grade level and others that might select 6 or sometimes even 7. The really savvy shoppers know how to do it. So they'll have a mix of $0 programs, maybe a $5 program here or there, and a $10 program. They really know how to stretch the budget that has been allotted. So think about that as well when you're thinking about pricing the program or what the price should be. A $5 program might lead to more bookings because you have to remember that teachers have a limited budget that they're working with. They can do more with a $5 program than with a $10 program. But also think about things like, do you have a lot of supplies? That might dictate whether or not you should be charging $10 versus $5 for the program. But keep in mind that $5 program means you will likely be able to be in more schools and service more students, which at the end of the day is part of the goal. And also, as it was mentioned, oops, of my notes a little bit earlier, it is going to be strongly recommended by the district that K-5, so grades K-5, select programs in accordance with wit and wisdom alignment. Now, I'm sure you all have questions about the cost breakdown and how that works out. So I put some of the information in here. You'll see there's a mix of like $5 and $10 programs. Hartford Performs will pay for the minimum of 40 students. So if you are doing your workshop for a class and there are less students than you anticipated, maybe there's 35 students in the class, or we have select iGoals programs, or there might be 12 students in the course, you're still getting paid for at least 40 students. So what that means is, for instance, if you have 2 classes and there are 35 students across the 2 classes and it's Regan Holt's program, for instance, because we're paying for a minimum of 40 students, then that amounts to $200 that you would, at the very least, you would get the $200. The same rule would apply if it were a $10 program. So if you have 2 classes and again, 35 students across both of those classes and you're offering a $10 program, then the amount that you would get quoted is $400. So I'm breaking it up. So I forgot to mention this earlier, there's a little bit of questions to make sure that you're still with us because I know we're tossing out a lot of content, a lot of information. So I wanted to see how well you were listening. So I posed the question here. You don't need to click on it or submit or anything, just put your answer in the chat box. But if you received a booking for 2 classes for a regular core arts integration program with 31 students in it and your program is priced at $5, what amount would you be getting quoted and paid for? I bet you didn't think you'd be doing a word problem in math today, but here we are. You guys are on top of it. You've got it. Fantastic. $200, correct. So I will hit that. So yes, $200 is correct. And I think most of you that are on this webinar are doing the Core Arts Integration Program, but we did just want to quickly touch on an additional cost breakdown. Earlier, Emily had mentioned and just talked a little bit about assemblies. So if you were offering an assembly, it's a $500 flat rate for up to 150 students. If you are offering a middle school residency, then it's 10 hours per week for 9 weeks at $50 per hour. Okay, now, when you've gone through everything, you have your program up, a teacher decides in September that they want to book you. This is what happens when your program is selected. So when your program gets selected by a teacher, you will receive a confirmation email. So both you, the teaching artist, as well as the teacher, will receive an email that looks similar to this that will include contact information for for the lead teacher, the site coordinator, the email address who you need to reach out to. It has at the top, it will have the voucher number. And it also has the voucher number here. That's incredibly important. A lot of times we will reference the voucher number. That's how we search for things. So keep that on hand. The email will also contain how many students are in it, how many classrooms, and this particular teacher has even done one. She put additional notes. Pay attention to those additional notes. It will give you helpful information that you'll need when it comes to scheduling the program with the teacher. In this instance, she's letting you know that there are 3 classes and each class has 20 students, which comes to that 60 right there. She gives you the time of the classes. So the first class is from 11:30 to 12:15. The next class starts right after that from 12:15 to 1. And then the final class of the day is 2 o'clock p.m. to 2:45. You'd also want to pay attention to something like that, okay, between the second class and the third class, there is an hour break. So when you're planning, keep things like that in mind. It will also provide the total quoted amount. So in this instance, it's $300 for this program because it is Regan Holt's $5 program. The teacher will also include the proposed dates. That is very helpful, and you'll want to keep that in mind because those are the dates at the time of the booking that work best for the teacher. So when you make that initial contact, you'll want to reference the proposed dates. So in this instance, she's letting us know that May 9th and 17th at 11:30 a.m. are the 2 days that work best for her. So scheduling dates and times with lead teachers. So once you have that booking confirmation email, you'll want to reach out to the teacher soon after receiving it to get a date scheduled and to get that on the calendar. That's where those proposed dates come in handy. They're the first dates to say, hey, I noticed you were May 17th and 9th worked best for you. You know, if that works for you, great. If not, perhaps you can propose another date, maybe that same month that will work for both of you. We also recommend getting back to teachers in a timely manner. That's very important. Part of this, we say, maybe the booking confirmation came in on a Friday, in which case then you have the weekend, teachers are unavailable. So we say 1 to 2 business days, get back to them on Monday, Tuesday, after the holiday. Make sure that when you're communicating with teachers that the information you're providing in that email is clear and concise. Cover everything that you can to limit the amount of questions, cover everything in that initial contact email. Right here, as we're talking about clear and concise communication, I do also want to let you know that educators are busy, so it can be difficult sometimes to get a hold of them. So just make sure when you're communicating that you're mindful and respectful of their time. I also want to add here that email is the primary form of communication, both for the Hartford Public Schools, the educators, but also for Hartford Performs. And then send a reminder no later than a week before the start of your program, just to confirm details and remind the teacher that the day and time that you plan to be there. Pay special attention to deadlines. This goes in many different directions. Earlier, Rhea and Emily had discussed the contracted service fees for some of the programs. So there might be times when we need an artist to do some work that might be outside of the Hartford Public Schools district. So whenever it's contracted work, the turnaround time is usually very fast and quick. So we want to make sure, you're checking your emails and that you are getting back to us even in a timely fashion. And if it's something that you think the integrity of your work might be compromised, then it is okay to say no to an opportunity if you don't think you can fulfill the requirements of it. Yes, touched on that. An email method. Okay, great. Okay. Okay, so another thing to keep in mind is flexibility goes a long way when working with the teachers in the schools. It shows that you can accommodate the school schedules because keep in mind they have testing days, they have holidays, they've got vacations. It shows that you are supporting the educator workload because as I mentioned earlier, educators are busy, they're balancing a lot. So being flexible shows that you respect their time. Excuse me. It helps build stronger relationships. It fosters an environment of trust and collaboration. It also demonstrates professionalism, and then it encourages repeat visits. Schools are more likely to book you or rebook you, teaching artists who are easy to work with and who are considerate of the logistics. So that, again, that goes back to one of the slides I mentioned earlier, that if you are, you did want more bookings, or you're interested in that, that's one way to encourage repeat visits. I also put in, and this is one of the resources that will also get sent out, is the 2025-2026 Hartford Public Schools calendar. So again, keep in mind, don't schedule a visit for school holidays, don't schedule a visit for a school vacation. And if you do have a visit on like a half day or an early dismissal day, be mindful of half days, early dismissal days. This calendar gives you all of that information. And also the 2025-2026 bell schedule is new, so it's different than in years past. The timings have changed a little bit, so be mindful of the bell schedule. When you're scheduling your visit, pay attention to school start times, especially if you have maybe an early morning program, then you'll want to pay attention to what time that morning bell is, because then you have to work out the logistics of how you're going to get into the school, or if you have a lot of items that might require a setup and security is not on site until 7:30 and it takes you an hour to set up, things like that you'll need to be mindful of. Okay. Now entering your confirmed schedule date and time into the database. This is very important. We're going to go into why in just a little bit, but when you receive a booking and you log into the database, you will see a list of your bookings down here. So it will look something like this. It will give you what the program is, the school that you'll be workshopping at, what grades it's for, the voucher number. Again, here's the voucher number, how many classrooms it's for, the number of students, and then again, what that quoted amount would be. And then the booking details. You will click to enter a date, you'll click on the View Booking Details button. It's the blue button on the side. And when you click that, it will pop up a box, a pop-out box that looks like this, with the booking details, which again will have that lead teacher's contact information, the grade, the classroom, the program costs, as we can see here, $10 per student, what the quoted amount is. So to add a new date, you would go down to the text where it says add new date, and you will enter what the date is, the time of the program, and then you would again enter the date and the end time of the program. So it would be the start time and the end time for one program. You'd add that, and then you can save it to your calendar. You can download the calendar or save it and send it to the teacher. Now, the importance of this, which, yes, I go into on the next slide. So why entering confirmed dates matters. Entering confirmed dates, not a hold date, not a booked date. A confirmed date means you spoke with the teacher and you agreed that on October 3rd at 2:00 p.m., you'll be at that school. The reason this is important is because it ensures that you will get paid. It starts the voucher process, it starts the voucher generation process, making sure that you can get paid. A common occurrence that I've found definitely in my time here is artists will email and say, oh, hey, like I didn't get paid, or it's well, you didn't get paid because we didn't know that that event happened. The date was not entered. And it messes up a lot of logistics on our end. Part of entering that date ensures that, we know that the program happened. It lets teachers know when you're coming. As I mentioned, it's part of our payment process system, and it helps us manage our budget. And we like to evaluate programs. We also like to observe programs. So it allows us the opportunity to be able to observe the program. And when the program is completed, it allows us the opportunity to be able to send out the evaluation tools and surveys to the lead teacher. Yes, it lets us know that you're scheduled, so went over that. If there are changes to that date, I also want to stress that you make sure that you update that. One of the reasons is, again, so we know what changes have happened, but there was an instance when I first started here when I spoke with a teaching artist. I said, hey, I'm new. I was hoping to observe your program on XYZ date at this time. She said, yeah, like it's fine. Can't wait to have you. I show up at the school and the school tells me that the program was on different date, like they had rescheduled it. Okay, that's great. I had no clue that the program got rescheduled at all. So if there are changes, just make sure that you are updating those. We don't have situations like that. Yeah. So on the day of your program, make sure that you send a reminder, or even before the day of the program, make sure that you send a reminder to the lead teacher a few days before your program to remind them that you're coming. Confirm the school address and give yourself plenty of time to travel and park. This will allow you time to be able to account for the unexpected, whether there's traffic, roadwork, parking, on-site or street parking. Some schools have their own parking lots, others do not. So you'll want to know where you need to park. Some school entrances are not as clearly marked as others. So find out, what side of the school you're entering from. When you get there, check in with security at the school security desk and make sure that you have your state issued ID ready and your Hartford Performs badge ready to present. Kimberly will discuss a little bit more about the badge later on. And then you'll deliver your program to the full grade level. And then again, complete your payment voucher online in a timely fashion. Do not let vouchers sit. We do have check runs twice per month. Okay, so how programs are paid. I kind of touched on that a little bit, but how the program is paid. So we have programs currently running. So when the voucher is generated on the last day of your program, or if you're a core arts integration program, when it's generated, it will look something like this. So you will log into the database, and this is more or less what you'll see. It will ask you questions such as, did this program happen on the following dates? So you'd indicate like, yes, this program happened. It will have the quoted amount for that program. It will have make checks payable. If you're on direct deposit, then it would go right into your direct deposit. You want to make sure that you have the most up-to-date payment information with Hartford Performs so we can make sure that you're getting paid in a timely fashion. It will have the number of participants. So in this instance, 75, you'll confirm if that information is correct. So yes, there were 75 participants. No, there weren't. It will also provide an opportunity for you to enter arts provider notes. Those would likely be things like changes that had to take place or if a program had to be rescheduled. It's not the space to comment on the success or lack thereof of the program. Don't use the space for that. There are separate tools that we use to sort of gauge all of that. Once this is done, you would hit the submit button, which will then send it to the site coordinator for the school. The site coordinator will see something similar to what you see, just verifying that the information that you entered is accurate and true. They're agreeing to the number of students, the number of participants in that program. They're agreeing to all the information. They'll hit submit, and then it will get sent to our programming team to review. If everything looks good, we'll hit submit and it will go to finance, and then it will get paid out twice per month. Again, if you have direct deposit, it will be deposited directly into your account. Checks are mailed to the address on your W-9 forms, so make sure that that is accurate and up to date and correct. If you move, this is also another common occurrence. If you move and you have a new address, make sure that you update it with our organization. Okay, I forgot to tell you there's a second quiz in here. Okay, so how do you ensure that you get paid for your program and work performed? And you can put that answer in the chat box. Don't be shy. Okay, we've got confirm voucher in a timely manner, confirm pro, submit form with voucher info. Anyone else want to chime in? Or you guys are just so good you don't even need this information? Emmy, it says we're so good. Okay. Okay, so I see a few different answers, so I just want to clarify. Um, so yes, you're right that yes, you do want to confirm voucher in a timely manner, but the voucher will not even be created if you don't enter a confirmed date. That's what starts the payment process. So yes, please submit your voucher in a timely manner, but even before that, make sure you have a voucher to submit, enter a confirmed date. Hmm. Yeah, submit form with voucher info. Okay, yes, Aaron, correct. Confirm date. Okay, yes. So again, just reiterate, stressing that, make sure that you enter a confirmed date into the voucher. Yeah. Okay. Safety protocols, Hartford Form safety protocols. So photos of students' faces and names cannot be posted publicly without written parental or guardian consent. A teacher, substitute principal, or security officer must be present in the room when the arts provider is leading a program. If there is an instance when you find yourself, for whatever reason, alone in the room, then you are welcome to stop that program and step out and find a teacher, find a security officer and say, hey, I'm with Hartford Performs. My teacher just left. I'm not allowed to be alone in the room with students. If the safety of you or the students is in question, again, similarly, you have every right to stop that program and continue at a later time. But again, that's something you want to also make sure that you're communicating with Hartford Performs about that. So we know we don't want to find this out after the fact. So just always make sure that you're keeping us in the loop and letting us know. Quarterly meetings. So we finally got to that. I know, very exciting. We offer 4 quarterly meetings that are, as you guessed it, held throughout the year. Ooh, I just hit something. Held throughout the year, along with it culminates in a year-end celebration. Especially as new teaching artists, we strongly encourage you to try and attend and to participate because quarterly meetings provide an opportunity to stay connected and updated on alignment with the Hartford Public Schools. I mean, we give you information as we receive it. It allows you the opportunity to build community with Hartford Performs and other teaching artists because as artists, you don't always get the chance to connect with one another. So it really does provide that space and that platform to be able to network and share your art form a little bit. Um, Learning and sharing best practices in arts education might be one thing that we cover. There are professional learning opportunities, which may include some guest speakers or perhaps fellow teaching artists might conduct workshops. And while we don't have solidified dates yet, these are generally around the times that we have the quarterly meetings. I just want you to keep on your radar, November, February, April, June. But as soon as we have those dates and solidified, we will let you guys know, and we will keep that information out there. So we hope to see you at those in person. Emily, it's all you.
Thank you, Catherine. So I've emailed you all to let you know that your profile has been created in the database. And I also emailed you to let you know that uploading your documents was paused for the moment. So I will be in communication about when the shift in the timeline, when there's a deadline for your documents or deadline to have your programs added. to add your program in the database. You can see in this little graphic here with this is the phone view, but if you do it on your computer, it's just a wider version of that. When you sign into your profile, whether it's on your phone or your desktop computer or your laptop, there's going to be an option towards the top of the screen to add a program. So from there, you would select to add a program. And then there's going to be a bunch of fields here where you add the name of the program, a program description. You're going to want to be as detailed as possible, but without offering way too much information that teachers would be overwhelmed trying to decipher what exactly the program offers. So enough, but not way too much. And we'll talk more about that. So basically, you go through, select save as you go. You're not going to want to submit until you get to the very end, because when you submit that, that sends your program to us, and then it eliminates the editing option for you in that moment. So just keep that part in mind. But you're going to want to go through, give all the information that you have for your program. You're going to want to add photos that market your program. This is your opportunity to market your program. You think about what teachers are looking for. Think about what the purpose of the program is. Think about what the purpose of arts integration is. So you want to talk about how, how the arts program functions, but also how it pairs with the academic subject to take the guesswork out of it for the teacher. And that's what's going to help you market yourself. The photos that you have of yourself executing your program in different moments. You all are experienced teaching artists. So the idea is taking those visual representatives of your program and showing what you're capable of, so that when a teacher looks at your profile, Catherine, next slide, please. So when a teacher looks at your profile, this is what it would look like. So you want them to see just exactly what they're getting. You want them to see a little bit about who you are and about your program. You want them to see what grade levels your program is for. You want them to see what the curriculum focus is. And then at the bottom there, that's the image that they will see of your program. So you want to make sure that picture is engaging, that it shows a little bit about what your program is about in some way. Again, it's not on Hartford Performs to market this. So this is why we're sharing this information with you, so that you know what teachers look for and what's more captivating for teachers. Next slide, please. We will be giving you name tags. Thank you, Cecilia, for this awesome picture. This is what the name tag will look like. It'll be a little bit different. The logo will be a little bit bigger, but we will be providing that just so you have something to wear to show that you're representing Hartford Performs when you arrive at the school. The information is not going to necessarily be widely shared throughout the school. So while a teacher might be expecting you, security might not know. So when you go to security, you'll have your badge, you'll have your actual ID, your state issued ID as well, so that there's no question about who you are and who you're representing, or that, you're with Hartford Performs. So we will be giving that to you. We will schedule for you to either come in to receive it, or the first day of your program to have someone there with you, which will probably be me. So we will discuss that a little bit more. Aside from the name tags, we expect a balance of creativity and professionalism. You bring the creativity as artists, but there are certain things that is necessary. You want to make sure you're on time. Catherine mentioned being there early, because you don't know what the traffic is going to be like. You don't necessarily know which entrance you're going to be entering to the school. So to make sure that you're in the classroom at the time that your program is supposed to start, and that the teachers aren't looking for you or sending emails trying to figure out where you are. You want to make sure you're on time. You want to make sure you communicate with the school, with the lead teacher, with us. Keep that communication open and prompt. I know it's inundating, and a lot of artists and a lot of people in general suffer from anxiety. And so you get an email and you put your phone down because it's, too much to look at in a moment. Understandable. But there's a certain level of push through that we ask for because of the load on the teachers. We know what the load is on the teachers overall, that short-staffed, underpaid, all of the above. So we like to go in with that in mind. How can we make this so cut and dry for the teacher? How can we make this just so smooth for the teacher that, one, they don't have to do too much to make the program happen. They don't have to do too much in the moment to, have you there, but also so they'll want to pick you going forward. The easier you make it for the teacher, the more likely you are to get selected again. And that's with communication, that's with showing up on time, that's with the way you show them respect and show the students respect and show the students a good time. And then the way you leave the classroom at the end, giving the teacher enough time to regain control of the classroom so that it's not chaotic and spilling over into the next class period. So these are the different things that we discuss in our professional learning opportunities. These are some of the things that we talk about in our AP Quarterly. Everything that we provide for you as far as resources go, it's an opportunity to help you become one of our go-to artists for when those special contracts come in. So the more capable you are of being an artist that doesn't need their hands held in just the most standard ways, the more we can trust you to give you more opportunities, and the more teachers will pick you. So when, yes, let that be a motivator, but also this is a student-centered organization, student-centered programming. So as much as the money is great, let the student enjoyment, the student learning, and the benefit for the teachers, let that be the heart of why you do what you do and how you do what you do. So with that said, we try to offer as much help as we can. We try to give you as much information. This is why this orientation is a thing. We give you as much information as we can to make this just a smooth process for you so that you can learn. And each year that you're with us, you learn a little bit more and it becomes a little bit more of a smooth process for you so that you can experience success in your programs. We also have begun to offer office hours so that if you need help uploading a document, or if you need help figuring out how to do a thing, or if you're having trouble with any specific thing, you can send us an email and say, hey, and I will send out an email to let you know what the scheduled office hours are. But if there's anything that you need in between time and you want to walk through it, you can request, whether it's a virtual session or to request to come in on a Tuesday while we're in the office. So that is available to you. And we strongly recommend you utilize it because we are, we are right in between you. We are the liaison between you and the school. We know the changes that are happening in the school. We know what the teachers are asking for. We know what the schools are asking for. So your best bet is to lock in with us in a way that gets you the information you need to pivot in the ways that you need to pivot when you need to pivot. And that will just increase your opportunities and increase your likelihood of success with these programs. So we already discussed required documents, the mandated reporter training certificates, the background checks, the W-9s, and also the MFA, activating the multi-factor authentication on your profile for safety. I sent you information on that. So this is just a reminder to lock into MFA, please. It is for your benefit. And that I will be sending an email out for deadlines for your required documents and what the next steps are, which will be to add your program to the database. So don't panic. You haven't missed anything if you have not started that. We will be in communication. You will have plenty of time before the deadline, and you will have plenty of help to get the things done that you need done. Next slide, please. I think.
Thanks, Kimberly. Thanks, Kimberly, for bringing it home. Okay, so we'll get to questions in just a minute 'cause we're just about at time, but before I stop sharing my screen as well, our contact information of the programming team, I've listed that here, myself, the program manager, Emily Wineski, the programming director, and then Kimberly, who just finished there as the program coordinator. And I strongly suggest that you save these emails and perhaps name a SurveyMonkey to your contact list. Add us to your contact list. That way you're not missing out on anything important. You're not feeling like you're missing out on anything. Making sure that our emails are not being filtered or not being sent to your spam folder. One way to prevent that is to just save our contact information as a contact. Okay. So I just stopped sharing my screen. I know we've had people monitoring the chat, and I don't know if anyone has any questions. We've got a couple minutes, so if you do have any questions, feel free to ask, and myself or my colleagues will be happy to answer.
I have one. So, new to this, so I'm trying to visualize when I walk into the school. So a teacher says, "Okay, I want to use your program," and I start communicating with them prior. Um, are they going to be co-teaching with me, or is it more like they'll be the body in the room while I'm running the program, or what's that relationship, or is that kind of like up to me and the teacher to decide, I guess?
Yeah, no, so it will be your program. They would be there as a support or sometimes like behavioral issues with the students, but they're really there to provide support. Whatever program you're bringing in would be a tie-in to their education. They select programs based on what they think would work with what their students are learning. But it is, I mean, it's your program. And anyone can, my colleagues can add on.
That was great. We encourage the teachers to participate, right? So when it helps the students participate in your program, if they see their teacher participating, so we always reiterate that messaging when you go into the classroom. So they're there to support and hopefully participate along with you.
And you said they have to be in the room at all times. If they need to like go to the bathroom or something, I'm supposed to
Yeah,
stop. What I'm-
someone, yeah,
Go on.
someone has to be there. You can't be alone in the classroom. So again, step out into the hall, flag down, another teacher, a security guard, or the office, and let them know that, again, you're with Hartford Performs and you can't be alone with students in the classroom.
And also, before it gets to that point, you can say to the teacher if you see them leaving or they say that they're leaving, you can say, "Hey, I know I'm not supposed to be alone with the students, so can you call someone in to stand in for you while you go to the restroom?" But like it's your right to assert, and obviously you're going to be kind about it. You're going to be, respectful about it, but you don't have to and I know sometimes it's, you hear this information here, and some teachers, not all the teachers are in direct contact with us, right? So we have the lead teachers, we have the site coordinators, but sometimes if a lead teacher or a site coordinator is picking programs for the entire grade level, it's not always that we're in communication with the other teachers that teach the other grade level, the other classrooms for that grade level. So they might not know. We can't assume that there's that level of communication happening all the time on on the schools. And so, that would be a moment to speak up and say, "Hey, I don't know if you know, but I'm not supposed to be in the classroom alone with the students. So can you call someone in if you need to go somewhere?" So again, it's being respectful, but letting them know in the moment before it becomes an issue.
So I can't say, "Hey, where the hell are you going?" No, just kidding.
I have a quick question, but I also wanted to speak to Matthew's question. Just probably like a lot of people on the call, I've been doing this for a while, and teachers and students definitely love it when you find a way to bring them in sort of a playful manner. Like I do a lot of science experiments, and I'll often have the teacher like be my co-scientist. Or like if we're even playing maracas, I'm like, "Guys, this is pretty tricky. Like, do you think your teacher might be able to like show us how this maraca works?" So thinking of like play inspired ways to make sure the teacher isn't checking out and that the students like see that their teacher is engaged, it helps them get engaged too. So
Yeah.
that's
Teachers love it too. I was observing one of our programs last week, and the dance instructor, teaching artist looped in the teachers, and like they had just as good a time as the kids. So they loved it.
totally. And then my question, I'm just trying to plan ahead for my summer timeline. You said we're going to get the information about updating all the information about our programs online. Is there a due date for when we need to have that done?
Yes, there will be. It's not set yet. We're doing some fixes on the database. So once we know that timeline, we will have it for you. We will let you know in advance. But it's not going to be a quick shut off where you get the information today and it's due by tomorrow. So you'll have enough time to get that done. And if you're concerned about timeline based on like if you have a vacation or anything else planned, preparing your program in advance, just like all the elements of it before you actually go, the turnaround time to actually put it in the database, you can do that too. And it's pretty basic information based on like the application, but we can also just get you some of the details if you need that specifically to prepare before that time comes.
Okay. That's good.
And we have time for maybe one or two more questions. I didn't see anything in the chat, but any other questions we can answer for you?
Can I ask another one unless somebody else has one?
You may, otherwise you've done a stellar job, so
All
go
right,
for
thank you.
it.
Well, because I'd be running a mural program, so I'm thinking about like art materials and the paints and stuff like that. And where does that all get figured out in terms of like budget and submitting costs of stuff like that?
I can take that one. So for your program, Matthew, it's different from the Core Arts Integration Program. There's no budget for materials for the Core Arts Integration Program, but there is for the middle school residencies and such. The residency programs generally come with a budget. And so for those, you would have the opportunity to submit a list of items that you need, and you would submit it to me, preferably with links and quantities. You will have the budgeted amount that you need to stay within, and then you just figure out based on the end goal what supplies you need and get that to me by, like, I want to say the end of the first week of the residency, depending on like the time frame of it, just so that we can place the order and get the materials into the office on time, sort through the materials and have it ready for you to pick up. So there's a process there, but yeah, and we'll go through that more with some additional resources, but some of the processes for the Core Arts integration is a little bit different for if you're just doing middle school residencies or 5-week residencies or in-school assemblies. So we will get you that information so you'll know what's different based on the program type.
Okay, great, thank you.
Well, I guess I'll wrap things up unless my colleagues have any last minute stuff they want to add or anything that I forgot. But if you joined us late, I did just want to let you know that this presentation was recorded. So by the end of this week, you will get the recording of the presentation from me along with the slide deck and any of the resources that we discussed in the presentation. So like the Bell schedule and the Hartford Performance Public Schools 25-26 calendar.
I hope it's to also provide that timeline and give clear instructions of when the add your new program is going to be ready. And then I just wanted to add what a joy it was to read your applications and to see such a high caliber of artistic work. It was really exceptional this year. And so I just really appreciate and so excited about seeing arts education flourishing in Connecticut, and that we're going to be able to bring all of your amazing programs into Hartford Public Schools for Hartford students to experience. So thank you so much. Our teacher committee was also really impressed with the caliber and quality of the work. And so thank you to all of you for really taking the time. I know it's a commitment to get all of that information in. So I appreciate it very much. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you,
Thank
guys.
you.
Great to see you all. Thank you so much.